Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Hope you're doing well. Happy Friday to you, Friday the 13th to be exact. Now, yesterday, if you didn't catch my message, it was definitely a Friday the 13th vibration of horrific proportions, as a matter of fact. I don't intend to continue on in that frequency. However, we just never know what the spirit is going to say. Now, do we? But in any event, I do hope that you watch it because it was interesting and I felt like it was a timely warning, especially just for the season that we're entering in, not just it being Halloween and all the energies that brings up, light and dark, but also just it being this season of spiritual transformation that we're upon, that is very sensitive and that we can be very vulnerable in, to just take extra precautions in how you protect your energy. But today, if I do say so myself, it just feels like a different vibe, like I feel very good today. I mean, I did yesterday actually, so you just never know what's going to come up anyway, but I don't know. I'm feeling really airy, really light and free today, and particularly loving, even more than usual. So I'm thankful for that. Let's see what's on the bottom of what? Of course, right? Because somebody feeling good, here he motherfucking go, right? That is so funny. I mean, do we even really need to say much? You can stand by. You certainly can, but your power is no good here, sir. No good at all. We got the King of Cups. That is funny. That is hilarious. All right, I'm trying to work on my shuffling skills. Be a little bit more, yeah, now. It's really not so much my shuffling as it is how I'm positioned here, because how I'm resting on my knees kind of impairs my shuffle game a little bit. But whatever cards come out is what's supposed to come out ultimately. So look, we got the King of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles, and then we got the Queen of Cups on. What is that? Is that Judgment? Yep, of course. And we got Judgment on the bottom of the deck. So the King of Cups is either either overseeing some work or working on something. What's on the other side of that? Remember, we got the Devil card at the bottom. And first of all, you saw how profusely I shuffled. I cut the deck, and I did that well before I even started the camera. And shuffled for a great bit of time. So that energy still wanted to persist, even with my best efforts to resist it, I don't know, but once again, as my favorite one of my favorite readers loves to say, where there's strength, the devil is lurking. So it's no wonder that he was lurking up under that deck, because there's something brewing here. Like I said, I'm in a great mood. I feel great. I feel good. Perhaps there are some energies that are working on some plan of I'm feeling some intrusive plan of action to infringe upon that high vibration. And it's because of the spirit of the time. Not only it being literally Friday the 13th today, but also being the new moon tomorrow with the solar eclipse, which, for better or for worse, is a powerful energy to manifest, to harness a manifestation upon. Now, the thing about it is, though, is what I'm sensing here with this Nine of Wands, is that this is energy that okay. Listen here. If you are in the dark arts, literally working in some manipulative way for diabolical purposes, by way of the devil, by way of the King of Cups, which is emotionally manipulative energy, and the Eight of Pentacles, which is toil and labor and being very insistent upon productivity of a thing, is not going to yield the results that you're quite expecting. Even if you feel there's an immediate return, or it seems to be a projected percentage of success, because the elements are just not set up that way. Even here, like, you're going to walk away having invested a lot of energy and time into something that is not even personal. It's just not the time for that. Yes, we do have Aries in the North Node. Yes, it is a solar eclipse. Yes, it's a new moon, which definitely gives some support and surge of new projects and new energy. Yes, Pluto has gone direct as of just the 11th. So 2 days ago. Yes, all of these vibrations are in place. However, you're reading it wrong. You're not reading the room correctly. Just as this Nine of Wands does, he's always looking backwards at some past experience, perhaps at some past success of an insurgence of power with the Ace of Wands, an overuse or even abuse of power, definitely an overexertion, I will say, with the Nine of Wands being the outcome. That's someone that's just, he's got PTSD, he's overworked, he's exhausted, he's the wounded warrior, but really by his own account. Nobody's beating him down but him in this Nine of Wands card, because he keeps putting in hard work and labor into the same thing that perhaps once put him in a powerful position, such as the King of Cups, to be able to hold the keys of spiritual essence, like to be able to hold it captive, control the waves, the cosmic waves in some regard. The psychic waves is what I hear, because King of Cups is like Scorpio energy. And Scorpio is all about controlling the psyche, deep, dark emotions, not too far from the Devil card, because a lot of the things in our psyche, especially those that are unconscious or subconscious, are what fuel our addictions and our habits and our behaviors that are more in a diabolical nature, that are more limited and harmful, and maybe even rooted in fear and obsession and possession, and all of those lower energies that you can think of are ruled by and ruled through the subconscious. And a lot of times it's hard for us to break free of those limitations and obsessions and possessions, because they're the hardest things to really put your finger on, to really come to terms with, because it's so dark and deep in the surface of who you are. It's been steeped under so many layers. They usually look at all these 8 layers, and hold up, is Scorpio the 8th house? I think it is. I think it is. Hold on. Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra. Scorpio's the 8th house. Sorry, I had to do that. I don't be knowing sometimes. And I wanted to make sure. So we talking about 8th house energy. Ooh, so this is giving me something different. So now this could be This is like someone lording over people trying to dig into, it's like he's getting to the root of his issues, what has perhaps put him into this nine of wands energy, where he's been the wounded warrior. He's looking to obtain his spiritual power, a new opportunity or authority over his creativity. These may be two different people. This is someone who's been able to establish himself as in a ruling class over individuals that, you know, more or less are subservient in some way, or just, you know, I don't know how to really say it, but you got a king and you got someone that's a worker. So whereas I was saying, I don't know if this is the king working on something, or if it's the king observing someone working. And now I'm sensing it in a different vibration. But this individual is in good standings as far as I can see, because now not only is he looking, what he's looking toward, even in the distant, even in his from his past, is still prominence and power. Hopefully not, maybe perhaps this is where the disparity is, that even his look back is about how power has been abused over him. That's what I'm hearing. But he's still working nonetheless. This is him digging into the past and trying to move to the future. The future is looking bright in terms of this strength card, because it's speaking to the fact that he has the will and the power to overcome this present position here in the middle. If it's even still present, maybe we're looking at the progression of an individual who then ultimately is given the strength to move on, you know, after he's digested and dissected ultimately where he's gone wrong in life as it stands, examining his own actions and taking authority over his own creative force, his life force, by way of his own will to do so, digging into that psyche to see what the things that have been ultimately taking precedence in his life. And like I was saying, like a lot of people don't get to the nitty gritty of it all, because there's so many layers that people usually succumb to the carnal soothing and sensationalism as a response by way of your habits, your addictions, those things that we reach for to ultimately soothe our psyche, to make, you know, to as a salve, you know, just ultimately just putting a Band-Aid over a gaping wound is what it comes down to when we're talking about addictions and such as that, because there's always a deeper issue there. But in the meantime, it feels good to just drink it away or smoke it away. What was that? Solange. I tried to drink it away. That song. What's that song? Cranes in the Sky. I'll post that on the community tab. I don't know all the aspects of the song, but I always like that song. So shout out to Solange. That's someone that, you know, is willing to recognize their behaviors for what they are, and it's in a high vibration as I'm seeing it. That maybe once upon a time he was feeling sorry for himself, or feeling a little bit emotionally imbalanced, maybe even mentally imbalanced, but because he was dedicated to the work on himself, which is what this is giving me here, even though there were others outside of him trying to keep him ultimately distracted or oppressed from doing this work on himself and for himself, perhaps presenting him with more, inundating him with more demonic energies, more temptations and such, with that devil card lurking in the beginning of the reading, that would keep him distracted from getting to the root of himself. But this is him looking like he's gotten there, or he's at least intentional about doing so. He's observing his past in his presence and seeing the possibility, the exaltation of his most supreme life force and power. And he has the support in some regard, perhaps even spiritually so, some spiritual support to do so by way of his own will. That's dope. And then has ultimately walked away from some things that didn't serve him. That's amazing. That's amazing. There go that devil again. And this is the healing. This is the healing. Let's go here. That's the healing. This is a crossroads is how I'm interpreting it in this moment. A decision that gets to be made. Now that a decision on his destiny. He or she, take it as it resonates. I speak in regards to the energies in the card, more or less. And, clearly this looks like a man, but the star also looks like a woman. But we know that the star is not limited to a woman's energy. It could be either one. So take it how it resonates. But he's at the crossroads of a decision, a major decision regarding his destiny. He's got the healing. Oh, and look at this motherfucker right here. Ain't this some shit? Once again, it's like the final boss. It's like a boss battle in a sense, where what he is though is exalted in his strength with spiritual support and committed to his healing. So it's like how I was saying in the beginning, when I was like, yeah, I feel good. You know what I mean? Like this, I know what this day implies, but as far as I'm concerned, like my vibration is high. And in actuality, the King of Cups is the most loving and spiritually sound king in the deck, in the highest vibration. If this is him, then that's a great, this is a great synergy. So it could be the one. Like I said, it could be someone that's trying to ultimately pull some strings or make some observances on the outside looking in, as he's seeing someone kind of get to the keys, to the keys of themselves, to the depths of their soul, ultimately maybe even reclaiming their soul. That's what he's working on, reclaiming his soul, his power, his creativity, what was once lost and maybe surrendered to this force. And this is like the tug of war here. I wouldn't even say tug of war because I feel like it's just the presentation. It's like this energy doesn't go quietly. You know what I mean? Just when you think you've overcome one feat by way of the strength card and you're healed from that, here goes another projection. And here also, though, as I said, is the energy to go within to fight that battle. It's not an external battle. It's very internal. And this is spiritual assistance and support to help you find that inner light, that guidance from within, to be guided from within by way of even perhaps intangible guidance, ancestors, way showers, guides, angelic forces, God even though this is not really the God card, but all of the heavenly hosts that are in assembly on behalf of the universe in accordance with your divine destiny. That's what the Hermit card is represented, to master self. Ultimately, he's mastering himself. Wow, maybe he has. What's the next card? That was the Emperor trying to come out. Let's see, before I speak too soon. Way too many. Hold on, that is the, ooh, look at this, face off. Wow, what's that about? And then the Justice card. The Emperor, that could be that authority figure that's trying to lord over his life. That's even a father figure in a practical sense that's trying to present himself as the authority to his future. Trying to put him in a position to be unsure of what he is ultimately become grounded on. It's a shaky ground to be on, when you're evolving and ascending and when you've made a decision on choosing your destiny, your highest self, your highest expression of creativity, literally under the Ace of Wands, you're answering to a divine calling and perhaps even an actual invitation. Yeah, here's the conflict here. This is the conflict here, but is this internal or this is external? I feel like it's external. I feel like he's grounded himself on the inside at this point. It's like a last final sweeping of these projections from the outside, perhaps family, friends that are still trying to present themselves to be in his world in some way. They don't want to let go. The ultimately the connection and the what do you call it? The access that they have to his energy, especially now that he's figuring out who he is. He was always a beast, in the strength card, always. But now he's actually figuring out the magnitude of his own power. This is him working on, getting to the truth of the matter. This is him having figured it out, maybe after some great test and trial and tribulation even, but he knows who he is now, so much so that the star is here. Not only has he been ordained with something special, but he's seeing it for himself. And now this devil energy is presented by way of external forces and interferences. As I said, could be family, friends, even foes, quite honestly, that want to still project some distraction or distortion to what he's come to know as truth. This is going from the 8 of Pentacles to the 2, and that's the 6 in between. Yeah, that's community. And it should be, and that's like that give or take, have and have not. So it's people that are still, people that are still literally holding their hand out for his time and energy. They want to hold on to it. They want to siphon it. They still feel entitled to it in some way. They know that when he ultimately releases himself, completely absolves himself of this distraction and this chaos and confusion, they're going to be in the 2 of Pentacles. So it's really just a matter of his decision, as it was with the 2 of Swords that came up too as well. That crossroads of decision making where you have to choose the highest. Well, you don't have to. You can choose whatever you want. Obviously that's the power of choice. But you get to choose. It's the invitation to ultimately choose himself. To not fall victim to the prowess of the devil or any of his minions, its minions or its affiliates, I should say, because everybody that comes in, comes in by way of a distraction. Yeah, see, okay, well, there's that. Everybody that comes in by way, and a magician, oh, baby, you got this. You got this. Everybody that comes in as some matter of distraction doesn't necessarily mean you harm. They just have their own agenda. With that 6 of Pentacles, it's like literally the picture of 2 people having their hand out, and in its highest vibration, it's about equal give and take, maybe even gift giving. So maybe he's just been way too generous in his life to people over the years, and because and he's been taken advantage of, because he's a hard worker. He's been in a position to clearly be prosperous in some regard, and people have recognized that and taken advantage of him to put him in this wounded warrior position, which, we have to take responsibility for, because people only do what you allow them to do in the end, in the beginning and the end, So whatever he signed up for, it's like he's taking his power back, now to be affirmative in what he knows he is truly responsible for and what he's being called to, like really weighing his options and managing his resources to make decisions based on who really is worth his time and energy, because it could be money just as much as it is time and attention, and who isn't. And here's the Page of Cups here. These are these offers that are menial in frequency, if you ask me, because here he is at the star having enough to pour out into the earth and into the ethers by way of the water, into spirit, and people are offering what they have to offer him in exchange for his time and energy and value is a cup, a tainted cup, a page of cups. It's a very small offer, but I feel like this is what's been ultimately keeping him a little bit in limbo and making that final judgment or decision about who gets to stay and who gets to go, or whose life he continues to be a part of, because there's people coming around with apologies and these small offerings of emotional expression, like adoration or small I love yous that, you know, it's nice to hear, but they don't, it's not really a full cup of love. It's not unconditional. It's not even a match for the King of Cups if that's who he truly is. You know, consider that. It's not the knight offering the king some admiration or even an apology. It's either empty or it's tainted. There's some ulterior motive, is what I'll say, with the Page of Cups here in this regard, because they know that he's on the edge of pretty much or he will be in some certain terms at a crossroads to have to make a powerful decision regarding himself, and they may not be on the positive end of that decision making. There may be some loss to take, or at least from their perspective. And I feel like it's like, in general, there probably wouldn't be if there wasn't so much entitlement to his energy and to being attached to him. He probably, you know, by his own cognition would still be just as giving to everyone in his life if he actually could be, you know, but for the fact that having done that has been depleting him energetically and dragging him back into toxic cycles. This is like a never-ending toxic cycle that he's been trying to break free from. He's worked hard, as a matter of fact, to break free from, and by that disparity in the Six of Pentacles, to bring some balance and stability into his life, so that all his relationships, he's been trying to create balance in his relationships where there is no possibility for balance, because these people are not willing to give to him nearly as much as they're positioned to take. It's just not, there's no capacity for it, unfortunately. And that's the case in many of our lives in some way, shape, or form. And it doesn't have to be limited to people, places, or things. It could even be habits, you know, that he's indulged in time and time again to soothe his emotional dis-ease or mental dysfunction, or, you know, his imbalance in one regard. And this devil energy is trying to pull him back into that self-soothing by way of, you know, finessing him into saying, like, you need this. This is what'll make you feel better, you know, because it's hard. Healing is hard, you know, really facing the truth of who you are and making decisions in that regard. Sometimes you lose connections, you lose a part of your own self, as a matter of fact. You lose comfort, you lose familiarity, sometimes you lose it, or it feels like you lose the respect or understanding of others, especially those that you love, because people have an expectation for you to be one way. And the minute that you start actually evolving into something that even remotely looks like healed and whole, it starts to activate the darkness in others to feel like they're, you know, it's almost a trigger to people that are not necessarily inspired to do this for themselves. And they feel intimidated, in a sense, to see you moving in some direction that they either don't feel that they're welcome to, or that they're privy to by their own, you know, cognition, on their own cognition. Recognizance, or whatever that word is. Cognition too, hell, all of that. Because we talked about the psyche and consciousness. It's almost a subconscious reaction when people see you elevating in a certain way, or just changing, you know, that they want to kind of hold on to you for their own gratification. Like I said, it could be people and family, friends, or spaces and places more or less people than anything, and maybe habits, but that's still within your own decision making. But people, which we can't control outside of us, it's just a reflex because they don't want to lose that source of energy that they feel most comfortable with. And it's a powerful source here with the Ace of Wands, obviously. And if this is him as the King of Cups, that's a powerful love vibration to have in your presence, to have access to at any given second, unlimited access to, as a matter of fact. You're, as a human being that's not willing to become your own source and force of power, that can be a very anxiety inducing place to be. It can make you almost compelled to make offers and promises that you can't really uphold just on account of trying to keep a certain individual contained, or to present him with certain things, like such as a drink, when he don't want to be drinking no more, or present him with an opportunity to engage in some debauchery, some drugs, or some or go to some place, even invite him to places that he doesn't that wouldn't be in his best interest, that might trigger him back into a vibration of energy that is anti-vitality, that goes against his greatest good, just because you want to hold, that's where they feel comfortable, so they want to hold on to him in that place and space, as opposed to actually ascending or transcending that toxicity to kind of meet him where he is. Not everybody feels guided to do that. Not everybody even feels like they have the capacity to do that, unfortunately. But he does, because he's the magician. He's the magician, and he's the King of Wands. That means that not only does he have all the elements on his side, as I said before, spiritual support, but he literally has the power with this Ace of Wands to magnify and manage any creation, any creativity. The King of Wands is like doubling down on that. He's overly ambitious. Well, not overly so, but he's like fully in his creative courage and creative power and confidence is the word I'm trying to get out. This is him in his most confident state, and by God, if there's nothing that threatens a lower vibrational energy more, is definitely confidence. For you to actually know how amazing you are, and it not be in a way that's arrogant or that's like resistant or detriment to anybody else's character at all, not ego per se. And that's what this is here, having overcome pride and ego in some great regard, for it to be balanced, a balanced expression of creative force. Someone that knows what they want, they know what they love, they know what piques their interest, and they go after it, no questions asked. It's like he's already sitting in that ready position, and having already put some manifestations into play. The only thing literally sitting in the middle is his decision to release some energies from within his midst that just don't have place there anymore, unfortunately. And that was the Six of Pentacles that I was talking about, that have and have nots card. People with their hand out, entitled to your energy, entitled to your time, entitled to what, look at that, Sun card and the, wow, yeah, want to keep him in this Knight of Wands vibration, lustful, stuck, stagnant with the Hangman, anxious and depressed with the Nine of Swords, almost in a spiritual imprisonment. Like, is even if they don't have the intention to do so, it's like guilty by association for him to continue to hang on to vibrations that even emit that type of energy. Well, continue to hang on to energies that emit that vibration, I should say. Yeah, and then here we go. We got the Hermit card. Let's get a little mini pyramid going here. We got the Hermit card. I hope you can see that. I think you can. That's him going within. That's that, that internal compass that he's committed to and guided by, that is anti, and sometimes it could also, I've heard people say that it could be an expression of depression, I don't really get that usually when the Hermit card comes up for me, quite honestly. I feel like it perhaps it's a spirit of depression that sometimes can drive you inward. So maybe that's what they mean by that, which is true. Sometimes it's you going to the depths of, like through that dark night of the soul, the blackest hole, that deep dark pit, that psyche, where no man dare go, without spiritual support and make it out alive, which is a good thing that thankfully he has it, because sometimes you can go so dark and deep into the psyche that you can get lost there, as that's the rabbit hole, more or less. But this is someone that has gone as deep and dark as he can possibly go and has come back. Although he may be a bit wounded, he's still standing. He's still in one piece, more or less. Peace being the operative word here is what he's looking to continue to cultivate. That's probably what sent him on the journey in the first place, to find peace of mind within his own being. And this, sometimes the Hermit card, as I said, it's like the mastery of that. And I'm feeling like it's him mastering the exhibition of his destiny, like when he does start to feel those triggers again from these external influences and projections. He's now in the King of Wands energy, whereas before, as the Knight of Wands, here he was more impulsive and compulsive to those triggers. Like it would just incite him to react and respond, and ultimately probably in ways that, again, weren't healthy, that it would either send him spiraling into his addictions, or maybe even into rage with the Knight of Wands, which is a diffusion of the King of Wands, someone that can't really control their impulses, their reactions, their ambitions, even their lusts. And it doesn't have to be limited to sex, although there's quite a bit of of wand energy here. But it's just your impulse to your impulsive ambition, is as best as I can say it. This is giving me someone that's mastered that, especially coming from the King of Wands. The Empress card here, especially under the depth, like, I don't know. Let me get another card past the Empress, because I don't know if that's his more soft expression of himself, maybe learning to have nurtured. Oh, yeah. It's like, because the Empress card can be, yeah, that's what that is. The Empress card can be like a mother figure. And that was the root of his issues. And by God, it's hard to get into that. It's hard to even come to terms with that reality, truly. That the root of his depressive state and his obstruction in his own spiritual, psychological, energetic growth, hell, with the Ace of Pentacles, even his material growth. Look at this. Like I said, the diminishing happened here by way of the Six of Wands to the Two of Pentacles. So he might have a mother figure or a head. That's why it's so hard, because it's his mom. It's his mom that he has to make the biggest decision on. Because who the hell wants to say no to their mom? And especially if it's someone that presents themselves as the Six of Pentacles, to have a need or even an entitlement on your energy, your resources. Maybe she actually needs support in some regard. Now, it looks to me that he's pretty grounded on the decision that needs to be made for himself, or that gets to be made at least. Even if it's a hard one, he's willing to go within, like to see how the Hermit is kind of turned their back on the Empress card, because it's for the greatest good. Like this is for divine, like this is for the biggest offering and opportunity from the divine, support from the divine that you can possibly have. Like you could work yourself to the bone and it still not measure up to what you know, the Lord. Is this the Judgment card again? Oh no, it's the Magician again. Yeah. And it's like he's been manifesting something so powerfully in his life, and he knows he has the potential to make it happen because he's seen it come and he's seen it go. But what he hasn't been able to come to terms with is that it's the associations in his life. Well, he has, but what it's been hard to make a decision, an action upon, is that it's the associations in his life, that are infringing upon this eternal reward for his invested energy. It's like he's working his fingers to the bone, but he's still in the end of the day, is still coming down to Six of Pentacles, because everybody in that Six of Pentacles got their hand out for every little bit of energy he has, every little bit of time he has, every little coin he has. Somebody needs something. Somebody need a new pair of shoes. Somebody need a surgery. Somebody wants to go here and go there, or somebody wants him to come over and fix this, or somebody's having a problem with their man on this regard and they need him to come settle it, or somebody's having an emotional breakdown and they need his energy to help this is why he's been beat down, because he is the Ace of Wands. He is a tremendous powerhouse, but over and over again, it's like he's been dissecting himself, spreading himself thin 9 different ways, at least 8 different ways beyond what he has to give for himself, on account of everybody needing something. And with the 1 and the 9, that's the expression of the 10 of Pentacles, which is just too many burdens on your back. It being absolutely time for you to release some of the responsibility or burden and commitments that you have ultimately changed yourself to, because with the 10 of Wands, it's a decision to release some of the pressure. It's intentionally assumed, that you take it on as a responsibility, but just as much as you receive it is as much as you can release it. It's just a matter of the mind and the decision to literally the will to make that decision for yourself. So that's why it's been so much of a struggle, because if he is the King of Cups, he loves his family. He loves his people. He loves his mom specifically and particularly, but he's recognizing the source of his instability. He's recognizing the force in his imbalance. And it really has come down to, it's been a long time coming, probably a lot of pros and cons and, back and forth Wade and him trying to almost like bargain with himself as to how much he can be invested or not, by way of that Six of Pentacles, how much he's willing to give or has to give, or how much he's willing to reserve for himself. But no matter what, as long as he stays connected, it always comes down to him getting the shorter end of the stick, coming out with the 2 of Pentacles when he started out with the 8, and that other half coming out with the 6. That's imbalance. That there's nothing balanced about that. And it's not contributing. That dynamic of toxicity doesn't contribute any greater to his mental health and stability than it does to his physical or financial wellness either. So this Page of Cups these are those empty offers, or those at least I would say undeveloped offers. Is undeveloped the word? It's like lackluster. I don't know what to call it, because it's an offer, it's an expression, but it's no match for the way that it's just, like I said, it's just for the ulterior motive of keeping him connected, emotionally attached is what it's for. I love you, you my son, or maybe it's a grandmom or an auntie, or just a representation of someone that has nurtured him in his life that he feels some allegiance to, any type of authority figure, or like I said, caregiver of sorts that has taken care of him or looked after him in some regard at some point in time, but now over time that balance is just not there. And that's why I was like, under this Devil card, it's like she's straddling the fence between his healing and his toxicity, like his depression, I'll say. You know, in one regard, it's like to have a mom in your life is a blessing. But when there's some contribution to your darkness, it's like literally is it worth it? You know, he can't completely be healed and set free on account of every time he gets to a certain place of certainty or establishment or ascension, he gets dragged right back down to either cater to someone that's on a level that he's kind of transcended from, or by some event or circumstance that makes him have to come back down a few notches just to, you know, contend with that energy. It's no good, and it's in the way of him harvesting a divine inheritance here, or divine opportunity, I would say, even harvesting his own divine gifts. Like he's been laboring and toiling here. When there's a seed that the divine wants to transmit or transfer, I should say, that is for all the marbles. You know what I mean? Like this one is for all the marbles. It trumps all. It could even take care of the whole legacy if they would just leave them be. But like I said, it's like an impulse in those that are not willing to heal, that are not going on their own healing journey by their own intentions. You know, they've been siphoning off of his healing for so long, and it's been sufficient because he's always been available, he's always been present, that they don't even know where to start on their own journey to their own self-love. You know, it's been so much confusion and delusion about where they end, or I'm saying they, but it could be very much so, like I said, just one, i.e. mom, where she ends and he begins. Because, and look, that's the Ace of Swords, that's the goddamn truth. You know? Yeah, literally living off of his energy. 3 different ways being split from this King of Cups, who now I'm seeing as the reason why he's kind of outside looking in is because he's observing. This is his observation of his that eighth house, you know, that psyche of him looking at himself lovingly, compassionately, I would even say, allowing himself to nurture himself and be nurtured on this journey to the depths of his subconscious nature. He was well, you know, supported in some way to do this. This is his destiny, as a matter of fact, to have overcome this toxic trauma and cycle of karma, as it's been, maybe perhaps generational cycles of toxicity and curses, even, I would say. Probably, you know, with this mental instability, that's been something that's been plaguing his generations for years. And like I said, with that 7 of Cups, nobody has really been ordained, or maybe they have been and they just didn't follow the course. But he's been the chosen one ultimately, by way of the star, to break this chain, to literally break this cycle. And he's been a yes to the journey. Here's the truth, the Ace of Swords and clarity here. Perhaps him seeing the truth about, like I said, the source of his instability, and how maybe that mom really doesn't have as much best interest for him as she even appears to be. Again, that 5 of Pentacles card. It's like those are the things that keep you bound. Yeah, and truth right here. Those are the things that keep you bound. And this is also him becoming more emotionally detached, I would say, from these Page of Cups energies that are looking to just keep their tentacles into his frequency as much as they possibly can. That seeing the truth of the matter, like seeing your mom, your peoples, your family, your friends, whomever, is a representation of close proximity of a family connection, you know, family origin. Seeing it for what it truly is. And those 3 of Cups, they're almost like toasting on his dime, you know, and it's like I was saying before, keeping the debauchery going, whether that be energetically, spiritually, or actually so. That confinement that keeps him on this lower level and keeps them comfortable with who he is to them and for him. You know, that containment. He's seeing the truth of what's really going on, that, you know, sometimes sad to say, but sometimes your mom is not your nurturer. You know, she may have been, and may have at one point in time been a guiding light or force in your life, but on the other side, with her back turned to this Hermit card, she's only able to get you to a certain point, and maybe it's actually been the debauchery and the toxicity that has led you to this point of healing, as I said, to break free the entire dynasty or legacy and generation of those that ultimately are stuck in this cycle without, a way out for themselves. And it doesn't mean that he has to be the hero to sacrifice himself on that account. It's quite the opposite, that he has to be willing to surrender himself in solitude and as a sanctified being, set apart from this experience, for anyone to have a chance. Because by God, as the Ace of Wands, if he's not willing and able to do it, to make that powerful decision that may be a hard one, a tough one, then there's no hope for the whole damn generation, because nobody else is willing to see the light. Nobody else is equipped, or I would just say willing and able, because there may be facility there to do so, but the will and the ability to do so is not there. It's like this is almost her trying to keep him contained, like, tame the beast in a sense, but not in a good way, because she's got that infinity sign over her head too. If I'm looking at this in a lower vibration, it's like she's trying to almost hold him back from being his fierce feline self. You know what I mean? Now, that's not what the card means holistically, but as I'm connecting it to, with the infinity sign here, the infinity sign there, it's like, no, don't heal, which is the next card, right? He's trying to go fiercely toward his healing, his destiny, his wholeness, his North Star, his North Node, his higher calling, his best self, practically speaking. And it's like, no, stay here with me. I need you. Playing the damsel in distress almost. Like, I need you here. You're, what am I going to do without you? What's going to happen to me if you go? Or, it's like, it's crazy what I'm seeing now. Like, really playing on his psyche in a deep, dark way, which is why it's under this 8th house energy now that I'm looking at it as it is. Playing on his psyche as a wounded warrior, playing like I'm hearing Munchausen. Is it Munchausen by proxy, or that energy where ultimately the parents keep the kids sick for their own gratification. They want to feel needed, or they want to feel needed, but really it's that they're needy. You know what I mean? So they keep you sick or on this cycle, making you feel like you're a lot less well off than you actually are. So it creates this codependency, and ultimately it flip-flops, because you need them. You think you need them. This is the truth that he's seeing. You think you need them just as much. You think you need them, but ultimately they need you more than you could ever really need them. And that's the mind fuck, because you grow up with people that you feel have your best interests at heart all your life, only to realize that you were their best interest and they were siphoning your energy all along, or they were, abusing and using their power in your life to ultimately keep you in a position where you would be most accessible to their needs and desires. That's a flip-flop. That's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow here with this Ace of Swords, but that's the divine truth. It's like double confirmation. He's coming to the saving knowledge, the saving grace of his reality, the truth, the clarity of it all, perhaps by way of this eclipse, because this eclipse energy is a solar eclipse, so a lot is like blindingly coming to light, unfortunately. And it's happening by way of the psyche. It doesn't even necessarily have to be physical evidence, although with the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords, I'm sensing that it's definitely going to be something tangible, something he might have to really observe in his hands to decide upon. Like, wow, this is what's been going on. Like, he's almost reading something and weighing his options in some regard. Like it's something tangible that's going to express itself to ultimately back up what he's been coming to know in his intuitive nature and his psyche and his, and the psychological aspects of him. It is coming to light. And it will be something that will help him to be more decisive moving forward, like to make the best decision for himself. But it doesn't mean, and here's and how it came out over the star. This is like, again, family that's struggling to heal. You see how it came out sideways? That's the struggle position. And therefore it's been creating a struggle for him to get to his 10 of Cups, his wish fulfillment, ultimate happiness, on that regard of the association, as I've been saying. He's coming to the truth of it all. Queen of Cups. This is also motherly energy. But how I'm reading this is really interesting, because if he's the King of Cups, evolved in some regard, this is the Empress card, but in reality, this is like the divine truth, right? The exposure that's taking place. See how they're on the same level? Remember I was saying it's like you think you need her. You looking at her as on this pedestal as the Empress. This is my mom. This is who gave birth to me. And all of that is valid. That's respectable and honorable, because if not for our parents, then, we wouldn't even have a breath in this experience of life. So there's that. Yet you still have to examine the experience of that life, the expression of it, and how it's being supported or not. Parents don't just get a pass because they laid the seed and birthed the seed. It's still a matter of nurturing. And right now it's like they're on the same level, more or less, as opposed to there being a clear distinction with the Empress and the King of Cups of maturity. It's like she hasn't quite, she's the Empress in his mind and in his idolization, but in reality, she's the Queen of Cups. I would say barely, because she's probably more of a page, like still caught in some experience of her own childhood that she hasn't really addressed and still regresses into, But again, it's on account of everybody having the choice to choose that healing. And you see how it landed on the devil, literally balancing between the two, the healing and the demonic energy, that karmic energy. Because there's still some uncertainty here, some imbalance with the family that he's surrounded by, choosing their healing. And until there's a choice, a definitive choice made, it will always drag him down before it will bring them up. The only way that he will get to ultimately create some pathway of hope for his legacy behind him and beyond him is if he chooses himself to take that path less traveled first and foremost. It doesn't work any other way. Yeah, see, and that's the resistance to make that decision. That's mom. She ain't willing to go there. She might not even feel stable to do so. Yeah. And look, I said she seems like a Page of Cups. A Queen of Cups, but in actuality, look, she's a Nine of Pentacles. That's a young single lady. It just keeps regressing more and more. More and more, from the Empress to the Queen of Cups to now it's like she's almost a young girl looking to this is not the true reality of this card, but in how I'm reading it intuitively, it's like a damsel looking to be saved, looking to be well kept. That's what it is, a well kept woman. No husband, no man. Or perhaps even if she does have a family, it's like she might as well not, one of those types of moms, where the men that come and go out of her life aren't really of true substance, which also has probably attributed to his instability or his insecurity in some regard. And it's like she probably would be better off single, because it would probably be a more stable life for her energetically than the people that revolve in and out of her life as well. That was her calling to her own strength. But she perhaps wasn't able or willing to answer to that. And now the torch has been passed on to him, and he has the capacity to do it as the magician. Let's get one more. Spirit, one more. Not 10 more, just one more. That's too many, but that was the Three of Cups again. And there's that Five of Swords and despair that thankfully didn't come out, because that's hopefully not the outcome for this individual, or maybe that's the outcome for her. Actually, we are on the end of her line. Spirit, let me get one more card and we're going to close this out. This is interesting, man. Look at this. He going to do it. He going to choose his higher self. And you know, the prayer honestly is that when he does, it's the liberation for so many more, because he'll be the example of what that looks like. Being an attractive force in his own right to perhaps break the mold. Yeah, this is laying those burdens to rest. And what's that? The Knight of Pentacles. That it's been a slow motion, a slow movement, slow decision. But again, also coming down from this Two of Pentacles, it's not really a regression to the Knight of Wands, because really the Knight of Wands is more going toward the King energy. But still, in terms of just quantity, holding on to that pentacle is what that gives him. Slow money. And look, even worse, despair and being laid to rest, being unstable, you know, immobile in some regard. He knows that he has to choose his higher self. It's not even like a get to, as I like to say diplomatically, which is true. You know, it still is a choice. But he knows that it's a matter of him or them. Him or her. Literally, it's a choice. It's a divine choice at this time, that if he doesn't make it, all could truly be lost. Nobody gets the healing. Generations may be lost for an opportunity for their own hope and evolution and evolving. Well, evolving is the same thing, but you know what I'm trying to say. There's an opportunity to jailbreak by way of this Nine of Wands, literally liberate an entire generation from this toxic cycle. And yes, it is a major responsibility to carry, but he's been ordained to be the torch bearer by way of this King of Wands, because he's the one that's willing and able. He has the strength to do it. Many are called. I'm sure he wasn't the only one in his legacy to be called for this great opportunity. And much love and respect to those, I would say, that come before. For any of us that have been called or chosen in some regard to break some cycles, to start something new, something fresh. It doesn't even have to be very traumatic. You know, it's given abuse and it's given toxicity and addictions and perversion is what is given me in this spread, but it doesn't even have to be that deep. And those are all very dark psychologically, right? That call for a great self-love to even journey to that depths, let alone to come out on the other side alive. So much respect to him for his accomplishment, and anyone, and I'm saying him, but I'm speaking, you know, theoretically, and to anyone that's listening and connecting to this message. Like, much, you have the respect of the heavens on this for just being a yes to the charge and the challenge. Once you became a yes, you already had the spiritual support to carry it out. It's the only burdens that remain on your back are the ones that you see in that perspective, the ones that you insist on carrying, that this cycle has proven itself to be over for. This is the 10. That's it. We're done here. the burdens are over. The 10 of Cups is on the board. This is the biggest disparity. Well, I say the 10 of Wands is a greater. The 10 of Swords is darker to me, because that's like actual betrayal. This is more taking accountability and responsibility for things that just don't serve you anymore, or just don't belong to you anymore. Like carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders by way of your family affairs, when you've been absolved of that burden by way of the spiritual force and source. Spirit literally is telling you, you're good here, bruh. You did your job, you did your duty, you chose you. You saw what was, you took the journey within, literally, Hermit card. You saw what was needed to be seen. You've accepted your own responsibility and accountability for the actions that you've taken, the things that you've created in your own life. This is that exaltation here with the King of Wands, somebody that is in control, self-control of their impulses. You've been a yes to your healing. You've balanced and managed your resources beyond what was even truly justified for you to do so. You've done it in love, even in the face of what was not balanced or reciprocal. And you've still maintained a high frequency of faith and hope for something that's beyond what you've ever been willing to acquire or perceive, or ever been justified to actually expect, I should say, by way of your circumstances in this lifetime. Happiness, a 9 of Wands, what happiness has he ever been given the green light energetically to have an expectation for, to feel deserving of? It doesn't even make sense, which is how it's spiritual. It's a spiritual adornment, anointing, a calling to heal so that others can be healed. And in this lifetime, maybe those that he's most connected to won't be a yes to that journey, and that's okay too. But the generations that come beyond him will, because the seed will already be planted. That Ace of Pentacles, that's that seed. That's new life, regeneration of a new vibration of vitality from the divine. The biggest magnitude of expression you can get materially or energetically. That's a seed that gets to be replanted over and over again. That's eternally prosperous. I'm equating it now to procreation, especially with the 10 of Pentacles, that because he's living or being willing to live a happier life and creating a more quality experience of life, not just quantity, because he did that before, focusing on the quantity of life. Now he's here cultivating quality, independence, higher existence, expression. That energy has to carry on beyond his vitality. It has to multiply, whether it be actually so in procreation with a divine partner who matches his frequency, or just in everything that he puts his mind to. Every action that he takes to create something in the earth is going to be infused with that new expression, that divine expression of vitality that is foreign to his natural being, by the way. He had to really dig for that pentacle, and he did it. He was willing to do it, and so the divine met him all that way, along that way, and ultimately at the final destination, to the reality and truth of his existence, what he truly is worthy of. And I'm saying again, this is a message to all of us that that are called to lead the charge for our legacy and the divine dynasties that we are creating in this existence, in this breath of life and experience. Energies don't around you intimately so, and beyond you universally, globally, locally, nationally. It becomes a threat when you're a yes to your divine purpose in life. It does. Think about Jesus, how the whole empire came up against him just because he was being making too much of an impact and an influence to those that were watching to see, well, hell, if he could do that, maybe there's some hope for me. It's the same. that experience translates just the same in the practical sense today, unfortunately. So that's the cycle of life that we are, contributing and in agreement with, more or less, that we're here to counteract, dare I say, to transcend beyond is truly the charge, because it doesn't have to be that way for you personally unless you submit to it, you surrender to that way of life. The hardest part is being a yes to something that exists beyond that reality. And when others around you aren't willing to perceive that for themselves, that's where the tension lies. So it's up to you to continue to stay the course, stay focused, keep your mind on the prize, which is your North Star, your ultimate success and healing above all that you've experienced and above all that may even project itself moving forward, and to continue to cultivate the highest expression of creativity that you feel called to do so. Choosing yourself, literally, choosing love, choosing creativity, choosing your light force above all. Let's see, last thing. Yeah, Three of Pentacles, that's I'm actually seeing that I heard higher education as the first thing that comes out, but that's energy for you and that's energy against you. No matter which way you choose, it will always fall on two sides of the coin. How you carry that burden is a matter of perspective. He could see the energies against him by way of his family, maybe even as his mother, as a burden on his back, like literally a cross to bear, making him a sacrifice, literally a living sacrifice. Or he can see the support that he has from a higher perspective, higher learning, higher, after he's gone to the depths and the darks, right? Now he gets to go higher and see the possibility of how he's actually more well supported in that state of mind and state of being than he's ever been in a physical sense. That was just the projection of support and stability, which proved itself to really not be all that sound in the grand scheme of things, just by way of his own life experience and expression. But when you take that risk, release those burdens, you actually find that you have more support for you than you do against you. The against is just the illusion. Literally, with the devil here, that's illusions. The Seven of Cups, illusions. To make you feel like you have to conform to a certain confine and convention of life in order to feel sustained and secure, when it's actually that chance and risk that you take to do something for yourself that affords you all the support and stability that you could ever imagine for yourself. Literally a happily ever after, happy ending, wish fulfillment, life of your dreams type of vibration. Two different sides of the coin. All right, so that's the hope and the energy. Like I said, it's a lot being projected in the season, a lot being projected even today. Literally, people sitting around probably wanting to project to you that you need them, you ain't nothing without them, or trying to pull you back in energetically into habits and places and spaces and affiliations that you've long since released yourself from, literally broke these shackles and released yourself from, trying to make you feel like maybe there's some backtracking or some overthinking or reconsideration you need to do about what you know and what you don't know, what you can trust and what truly has value in your life and what doesn't. Don't be fooled. You did the work. You've already been given the spiritual intel in your subconscious probably a long time ago now. You've been knowing what's good for you and what's not, what brings value and prosperity into your life, and what, you get around certain people and all of a sudden you find yourself having less money or less energy and time. You get in certain places and you feel completely depleted or deflated, confidence gone after you leave. You start to do certain things and you start off in this one place, i.e. smoking or drinking in excess, and you start off in one place, and before you know it, by the time you get down to the bottom of the bottle or the end of the blunt, you feel worse than when you started. You have the intel. You've mastered yourself to know what works for you and what doesn't. You are the master of that intel at this point in time. You have the ultimate support of spiritual clarity and truth to back up what your subconscious already told you by way of the King of Cups, who's the most intuitive king in the deck, as well as the Queen of Cups is as well, for any gender. You have the spiritual intel, the intelligence, the emotional intelligence that's been pointing you to the exit signs and the, those no more, do not enter, next, thank you, whatever the case may be, end of the road, dead end, all of those signs you've had on the inside of you by way of your spiritual guidance and your own spiritual intuition. And now the physical clarity and truth is going to be revealed to you in a tangible way to just solidify what you've already made a decision on. Hopefully to make it a lot easier for you to release the burdens of any accountability or responsibility to anything that does not ultimately reciprocate that care and consideration. That's what it comes down to, because it doesn't say that you can't care about anyone. You absolutely should. And that's exemplary here, even in the Ten of Cups, that there is opportunity for there to be connection and even soul tribe. This is what that represents. It doesn't even have to be a conventional family. It could be a multitude of friends, new energies that you surround yourself, or friends that are like family, or just business partners that nurture your spiritual guidance and nurture you in a spiritual and energetic way, and not just materially, that they hit all corners. All of that, it was straddling the fence here, because it's all possible in either reflection of light or dark. It's just a matter of what you are a yes to, what you're manifesting, as that Magician card kept coming up over and over again. You are the ultimate creator of your reality. It's just you. Nobody else is responsible but you. And nobody else is entitled to the rewards of your labor but you. And then whomever you feel inclined to share with. All right? But you most certainly deserve it all based on what I see here. You've done the work, you've done the labor, you've chosen yourself, you've even taken into consideration those outside of yourself, much more than you should have probably had to do at this point. So feel no accountability or guilt or shame or remorse or regret or dependency for anything or anyone at this point. Take care of you, do you, to the most supreme source and force you can possibly do so, by way of the permission of the most supreme source and force that is guiding you from the inside out. All right, so that's it. Have a great day. Happy Friday the 13th. Y'all be careful out there. If you saw my last message, be careful about these invitations, because that can speak to that too. People inviting you to places that they know are going to reel you back in for the kill, or that are going to drop you back down into a place and space that you don't want to be in. It's okay to say no, no thank you. It's okay to not say a damn thing at all, and just be a yes to yourself at this time. That's the answer that matters most, okay? So be safe out there. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you tomorrow, but just in case perhaps I don't talk to you tomorrow. You have a great weekend, safe and sound in spirit and in truth. And until next time, peace.